Welcome to Recalculating Small Business. Like its award-winning book, Recalculating is dedicated to small business in America. Your hosts are Don Mazzella and Dan Perkins. Don Mazzella is the editor-in-chief of the Small Business Digest. Dan Perkins is a registered investment advisor with 43 years' experience in managing money.
Dan Perkins here, your co-host, along with Don Mazzella of Recalculating for Small Business. Our radio program is dedicated to you, helping the small business owners increase their profits. We draw our name from Recalculating, voted the best small business book of 2017 by the Independent Press. In this book, it features ways to grow your small business. Now, here's Don Mazzella.
My co-host, Dan Perkins, is on assignment, but we have Shaun Belding calling us today. He's here to talk about, and I love this title, why most businesses are getting failing grades. Shaun, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you know, we have a lot of ground to cover, but first, Shaun, tell our audience a little bit about yourself, about your companies, and your website before we go any further.
Sure. I've been involved in the customer service and customer experience business for about 27 years with our company, the Belding Group of Companies. Back when I had a real job, and I worked for national and international advertising agencies, marketing companies, and have been doing this since that time. And now the company does, I'm really happy. The company runs really wonderfully, and I spend most of my time either writing or doing a lot of keynote speaking engagements, that sort of thing. Our company is focused on helping organizations improve their customer service and customer experience. And through consulting, we do customer service training. And the website address you asked about is it's beldinggroup.com. is the central website. But so we've been doing it for 27 years, and for me, it's kind of fun because I grew up in Houston and New York, and now live in Ottawa, Canada, which is much colder and not nearly as temperature friendly as the other places where I've been. but this is where I am now.
Well, Shaun, spell out your website. This is radio.
Absolutely. It's Belding, BELDING, group, GROUP.com.
Okay. Well, now let's get into this. The reason we invited you on the program, you have a book, but more importantly, you have some good ideas about customer service and how people and small companies and big companies should be interacting with their clients and customers. So first, what's the title of your book?
It's The Journey to Wow is the book, and it's a parable, a business parable. It's my sixth book, and it's the first one I wrote as a story because I think customer service, customer experience is so much of a personal experience that we all have, it just seemed to make more sense, and I could have more fun with it, writing it that way.
Well, so we're talking basically about the contact, person-to-person contact, are you also including the website, et cetera?
No, it's really everything, and it's sort of the difference. It's a great question because it's sort of the difference between what we think of as customer experience and customer service. Customer experience is how well your processes work, how well are your policies, are you easy to do business, are your policies customer friendly, are your practices customer friendly, easy to understand and easy to navigate, such as, for example, a website. So that's the experience part. The customer service part, of course, is the people stuff, and that is the one-on-one interaction that we have. And as some research has shown, that the people-to-people thing, while not in today's age of technology, isn't perhaps has been as much of a focus, it is the part that makes the greatest difference in terms of creating loyalty to a company.
Well, we talk about the internet and all this, but still, I think the figure I was quoted was only 13% of all sales are really made over the internet. People still go into stores to buy things, and when you go into the stores today, To me, I met with great indifference. Do you want to comment on that?
Well, and I don't think your experience is unique. It's been certainly on the retail level. There has been they're under intense pressure because of the digital marketplace, and you're right, it's not nearly as dominant as perhaps we'd like to believe. But from a retail level, because companies have gotten so big and because there's been so little focus on it, what we think of as customer service, what we would like to see as good customer service, just is not nearly at the level that it should be, or as customers that we expect.
Well, I also think since our show is for and about small business, smaller businesses have the advantage. They're closer to their customers, whether it's B2B or B2C, etc. Yet they seem almost as immune to good practices as their bigger partners. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for a different reason. In the large companies where they're in many ways they're just too big and they're too detached from their customers. In smaller organizations, there are a couple of things. The first is that we don't have necessarily access to resources to help improve your customer service. But the other thing is, and having been a small business, owning a small chain of retail toy stores once upon a time, I know that sometimes you are so busy focusing on putting out the fire of the day that you're not focused on what it takes to create a great customer experience and good customer service. And sometimes we're a little bit too forgiving. If you have a small business and you've got, say, 20 employees, and you have one that's maybe a little crusty and a little abrupt and perhaps not as polite as that person should be with a customer, but he or she's been with you for 5 years, and you know what he's like, and hey, it's Bob. That's the way Bob is, And so we don't hold people. I think even more so in smaller companies, we don't hold people accountable to a standard as well as perhaps we should.
Well, that's good. That's good advice. And having been involved in small business, I couldn't agree with you more. But let's turn now to your book. You say it's a story. What's it about, and why should our audience be clamoring to buy it? Wow,
great question. Again, well, the answer, they should clamor to buy it just because. But the book fundamentally is what I wanted to do when I wrote the book was really through a customer's eyes show what a journey looks like, show what it looks like, to really illustrate what the difference is between the horrible experiences that we've all had and something that's amazing, and to show that what those elements are that create that amazing experience. So what I tried to do was write it so that people could understand that it doesn't matter whether you're in retail or you're in manufacturing or the service business, that these same principles apply. So the story is about a man. I tried to write it somewhat tongue in cheek, and it's about a vice president of production for a large manufacturing company that's trying to improve their customer experience. He just got a promotion into something that he knows nothing about, and he ends up with a mentor who's a sort of eccentric 70-something woman. If you think of Mary Poppins meets Yoda, it's sort of a kind of a caricature of a mentor that she leads him through a multi-level department store where they start with horrible and move their way up to awesome, and he takes all the principles. They have a lot of fun with it, and he takes all the principles and shows how to apply it into different industries. But again, the whole idea of it is because we've all been customers, we all know what horrible experience is like, and yet somehow when we're running a business, we kind of forget. We forget that really there's only one. There's only one perspective that matters. There's only one person's opinion that matters. It's the customer. I mean, you might think you're wonderful, but if a customer thinks that you suck, well, you suck, and there's no two ways about it. So that part of it is to sort of really drive that home.
Well, but in today's world, can companies really afford to allow their employees to be good customer service people?
Well, I don't think they can afford not to. One of the interesting things that for me that highlights it, and back in 1995, for example, David Collier released some data that when a customer has a poor experience, they'll tell between 6 and 8 people. Well, we just finished, just a few months ago, reviewing the average person's network in 2018, and that number's grown to 360 people plus. So that's how many people you can expect will hear about, for example, a bad experience if you provide it to a customer. Now that's for each customer that has a negative experience. So if you have 10 of them, you multiply by 10. And if a situation goes viral, like what happened to United Airlines, a year ago when they forcibly removed Dr. David Dow from a flight, the number can go from hundreds to millions. And so we can't afford not to have great service. It is the new marketing. And poor customer service can destroy your brand faster than almost anything.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yet, in talking to senior managers on this question, they say, but they have to have the rules in place in order to provide a unified presentation to customers. And yes, there are the exceptions, but if they don't have this unified approach, they won't be able to create a quote brand. Anyway, that's what they said at a recent conference. So how do you address that?
Well, and it's fair, and you do, and certainly in terms of your processes and your policies, you have to have you do have to have from a brand. You have to have that level of consistency that it's going to work with. But one of the things that also needs to happen, so one of the other things that has to be sort of unified is understanding that it is customer service fundamentally a customer experience, and loyalty comes from people that you need to have your employees that genuinely care about people and send it. One of the standards that should be in there, just as your standards on what you put in a store or what services you offer, one of the standards of quality is a quality of customer service. When you think about it, for example, I mean, loyalty, it begins with, and this is where, when you talk about large companies, it's where large companies start to twitch. And it's one of the reasons they have challenges creating customer loyalty, where smaller businesses do a far better job of that overall. Because loyalty begins with abandoning that quid pro quo mentality, that transactional mentality of I'll do something for you if you do something for me. It means you do the right things you do things for customers because it's the right thing to do, not always because it's a guaranteed return. A great recent example is IKEA in Essex, England. This is 2 weeks ago. There was a horrific crash on a highway, and it left hundreds of motorists stranded in their cars for hours on this big stretch of highway. Well, the local IKEA opened their doors to them, invited them all to come in and sleep on their beds and their couches in their showroom until everything was cleared up. Now, there's no payoff to them for that. In fact, there's probably a huge cost when you think of what that implied. But they did it because it's the right thing to do. And you think that these are people that won't use this and won't talk about it and won't share that with their friends. Now, that's not something you can put on a spreadsheet. That's not something that you could say, okay, tell me the dollars and cents payoff of it. But it would be hard to argue that there was no payoff to that. That's one of the advantages that a small business has, is that in a small business, you have a little bit more control over that sort of a thing, and you can make those decisions that aren't always just policy driven.
We're talking with Shaun Belding. He has a new book out. Shaun, what's the name of your book?
The Journey to Wow.
Okay. Uh, we really do urge our listeners to get the book. And let's go back. Shaun, I have to tell you, uh, when I was a much younger man, my mother bought my T-shirts and underwear, and even after I got married, she continued. I'm an Italian son of an Italian mother, but anyway, before she died, she arranged for Mr. Schwartz at Macy's to continue to send me that material. And 3 years after she died, I was still getting material from her until one day it didn't show up. Why? Because Mrs. Schwartz had died. But to me, that's always been to me the epitome of customer service, and you don't get that today.
No, and what a fantastic example. And I believe, although I'm not sure anybody could draw a straight line to it, but if you look at the failing retailers out there like Sears, where did they go? Well, when I was a kid, and really up until the late 1980s, Sears had the most amazing return policy, for example, and they were the only company that had it. You could buy a bunch of tools and drop them off a cliff and bring them back because they got dented, and no questions, they returned it. And that level of loyalty was huge. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, the accountants got in there and said, hey, wait a minute, we can't do this anymore. So they said they're going to stop it, and they did. And I think that was, that probably wasn't the cause of the decline. I think that was probably a very good indicator of the way they changed how they approached customers.
There's a clothing outdoor Maine company that just modified its policy on returns. I can't remember the company. Just announced that coming October 1st, before they would accept everything back at any time, but people were taking too much of an advantage of it. It's a famous brand, Orbis.
Yes.
Anyway.
People experience that, and then the truth is there are people that take advantage of it. And there's a fun example in the book of what that is and how it works. But the reality is, if you did the math, what percentage of people are taking advantage of it? Really, 1%, maybe 2%. If you're a profitable company, why would you risk alienating 100% of people for the sake of a few people that don't have a lot of ethics?
Well, I talked to somebody from the organization about that, and they said it was a generational thing, that they were finding that most of the bad returns, the returns which they'd obviously used once or twice, then brought it back, were coming from younger people under 25, and that it was growing as a problem. And they really had no solution to it.
And that makes sense, because it's also the generation that's growing up with Amazon or Wayfair, and that's what they do. But to Amazon's credit, when you think about when they started, I mean, who's going to order something online? I'm going to give my credit card online and trust they're going to ship it to me. And what if I don't like it and I can't bring, But Amazon started off with that. Just call us and we'll let you return it. Or sometimes, so for example, if somebody goes to buy my book and they get the book or they get the wrong book, Amazon is just as likely to say, why don't you just hang on to the book you got? We'll send you the correct one. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it costs them money, but again, they recognize that that's what creates that fanatical loyalty they have, and so I'm not sure, and it might be different for different organizations, but I think if you did the math in terms of the message you send when you start trying to go against that trend that is dominant now with companies like Amazon, that it's probably not, there's probably not a payoff to it.
Well, you just hit on something. Is it the fact that some companies do not realize that there is a message in good and bad customer service?
Yes. I mean, really, a lot of companies don't take it seriously. It's not as many as used to be. When we started with our training division was how we started, and customer service training, and back in the early 90s when we started this, customer service was a nice to have, not a need to have. And that's changed. That's changed huge for all the reasons that we talked about. But there's still people that don't take it seriously. They don't train for it. They don't make it part of their leadership or their culture. They don't have service standards for their staff that are non-negotiable. They don't champion it, like from the owner all the way down. It's not a priority. And that's really the challenge. And in small business, sometimes, and again, depending on how small your business is, when you're really working on a month-to-month basis and trying to grow your brand and make sure you can make payroll and look after your cash flow, sometimes these kinds of things, the longer-term loyalty, kind of takes a back seat, which is really sad, and it's unfortunate because that causes the downfall of many small businesses.
Well, Shaun, we're getting to the end, so I'd like to ask you, what are the three things you would tell a small business client who came to you and said, I need to improve my customer experience? Number
one is, I would say, focus more on the customer and less on their wallet. If you look after your customer, if you're focused on who your customer is and what they need and how you can make a difference in their lives, you will have a far greater impact than if you just focus on their wallet and how much you can dig out of it, because that will happen if you do that. The second thing is, don't accept mediocrity. Set up a set of standards for your company. Look at it. What are the things we stand for? You don't have to have scripts, but what are the things that you as an organization want to stand for when it comes to your customers? And do you want people to be friendly? Well, don't accept it if an employee is not friendly, and hold them accountable. And the last thing is stay in touch. One of the biggest dangers, and we talked about it, is that sometimes we get too far removed from our customers, so we lose sight of that one-on-one interaction. And the one-on-one interaction is, in every organization, ultimately what creates the kind of loyalty and the kind of success that we're looking for.
Three great things. But we still have a couple of minutes. I'll ask you one of my, again, keeps coming back to it because I get a lot of questions across my computer, but they also talk, are customers different by ages in general? And if so, should you be handling them differently?
Yes, they are different, and I don't think it's really the Gen X, Gen Y, millennial, baby boomer thing as much as when I was a kid in the '60s, we were pretty different from our parents back then. So I think there always is generational differences. The one thing that every customer, and I'm not sure I necessarily would treat them differently. I think what I would do though is I would say every customer needs to be treated with respect. And every customer needs to believe that you genuinely care about them. And I think those are two principles that go across every single generation.
Well, that's very true. But how do you instill that into your employees? You and I walk into some stores and the salespeople run away. I often wonder whether it's me. Or whether it's me, but I say they do it to other people. And they go into other stores, and sometimes they're over-solicitous, but at least they come up and say, may I help you? Simple words, but it seems to be dying in today's world.
It does, and that is, I used to get frustrated about that, and about the people, but I realized that it's not really a condemnation, or it's not really an indication of that individual who's run away from you or who's doing things. That's a leadership issue. We all do what our bosses want us to do and tell us to do. If our boss says this is a priority, we make that a priority, and we follow by example. So if somebody's not greeting customers in a retail store, for example, it's probably because nobody gives them a hard time if they don't. And nobody's told them they should. Nobody's made that a non-negotiable standard. So really it is, and I always say to leaders, if you have staff that aren't delivering great customer service and you're pointing your finger at them, you better turn your finger around and point it at you first, because what your employees are a direct reflection of how you lead. So you need to lead by example. You have to set non-negotiable standards of service, and you have to. And by non-negotiable, it means you can't have a flexible standard. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Bob or Fred or Susan or Barbara. No matter who they are, you expect customers to be treated the same kind of a way. But that ultimately boils down to us as leaders.
Shaun, I'd love to continue, but we've reached the end of the time. We're talking with Shaun Belding. Shaun, your website again and your book and how people can reach you?
Awesome. Well, the book is The Journey to Wow, and it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, any place where you'd normally get a book. And it's actually officially out September 24th. I think you can pre-order it now online. The company is the Belding Group of Companies. It's beldinggroup.com, beldinggroup.com. And people can reach out to me on through the company. It's got all the information, or they can reach out to me on Twitter, which is Shaun Belding, ShaunBelding, and the same with LinkedIn. So people can get me all kinds of ways.
Okay, thank you so much. A link to your website will be on recalculating.biz tonight, where you're going to hear this and every other past and future Recalculating program, and you can also tell us guests you'd like to hear. Shaun, again, thanks, and have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Want to know more about health savings accounts for your company or yourself? Go to 2hsa.com and get a free employer's primer. Health savings accounts are a cost-effective way of offering health care benefits to your employees and yourself. HSAs build retirement funds for your employees, improve morale, and reduce your health care benefit cost. For a free employer guide to HSAs, go to 2hsa.com. That's 2hsa.com.
Dan Perkins here from Recalculating.biz with your featured book. I want to tell you about a recent interview I had with Bob Bethel, a turnaround specialist with lots of success in small business. Bob's new book is Strengthen Your Business, Fail-Proof Strategies for Small Business. He tells us of his life successes and failures that have made him and his clients so successful. Over the years, Bob has brought 77 companies back from the brink and changed them into thriving, profitable businesses. His energy is amazing, and at 74, he proves that you can still have a great deal to give others if you just try. His suggestions are easy to understand and very helpful. One insight struck me was that most companies do not have a plan. The old Chinese proverb says, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there, is true today. Bob Bethel's book, Strengthen Your Business, can be found at Amazon.com or can be ordered at your local bookstore. This has been Dan Perkins with your Recalculating.biz featured book.
Marcus Lemonis, J.D. Powers, and John Scully, and 100 other presidents and experts contributed to Recalculating the book. Why did all these people agree to contribute to the book? I'm Don Mazzella, and I'm the editorial director of Small Business Digest. And for 20 years, we have been offering small business leaders information and data to increase profits. Recalculating the book was named the best small business book by the Independent Press Association. Whether you need help with marketing, staffing, finance, operations, technology, or many other subjects, they're all here in Recalculating the book. They're now available at Amazon at a reduced cost. We've also created the radio program Recalculating on Recalculating.biz.
Dan Perkins here for Recalculating.biz with your small business tip of the day. People are concerned about the massive hack to computer systems that took place in over 150 nations just a few weeks ago. Were you protected? So here's the tip of the day. Close the windows and doors in your computer. If the windows and doors are locked, the bad guys can't get in. And the best way to lock the windows and doors in your computer is to turn it off when you're done for the day. If you leave the computer on 24/7, bad guys can attack you when you are asleep or away. You lock the doors and windows of your home when you leave home, don't you? So lock the doors and windows of your computer. If you have employees, make sure they turn off their computers when they leave for the day. Make sure you set your computers to automatic download for system updates. That way you will always have the most recent operating system. Just turn off the computers and you'll have a new title, the head of cybersecurity for your business. Go to recalculating.biz for more helpful tips. This has been Dan Perkins with your Recalculating Small Business Tip of the Day.
Welcome back to Recalculating, the program dedicated to American small business, as they discuss things that are happening now that are affecting your business success.
My co-host, Dan Perkins, is on assignment, but Farzan Dehmoubed is here to talk about how he came to launch one of the most unusual new products I have seen lately. Farzan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, first, for our audience, will you tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about your company, and finally your website?
Sure. Yeah, totally. So I guess I'm an entrepreneur by heart and kind of just love entrepreneurship as a whole. And about a year ago, my wife and I, like many families, we live in California, and we were just frustrated with all the plastic bag waste in our house. There were, multiple bags all over our pantry, in our cars, and we were really excited with the whole plastic bag ban that California went through. But what we found was a new problem, which was too many reusable, thicker plastic bags filling up our homes and our cars. And we really thought there had to be a better solution. I'm a surfer. My wife's into yoga. We really care about the environment as a whole. And we thought there really just got to be a better solution. We're not the only ones that are feeling this frustration. And that's when we started to really study every type of bag that was on the market and prototype and really study different options. And that's when we came up with the Lotus Trolley Bag concept, which really struck a chord and really completely changed the way we shop. And for the listeners, it's a bit of a unique concept, as you said. So there's a set of 4 bags. It comes as a system. It's a set of 4 bags that's spread out on the top of the shopping cart, kind of like an accordion. So we have these patented poles that are on the top of the shopping cart that sit on the railing of the shopping cart and allow the bags to be open for packing while you shop or right at the checkout. So what that allows you to do is pack with both hands, and since you have 4 bags, it allows you to organize and put everything in its specific compartments. So one of the bags, for example, is an insulated cooler bag, so you can put all your cold items in that cooler bag. You don't have to rush home. The other bag can be for all your veggies. We also have a bag with egg and wine pockets, so specific pockets to keep your fragile items secure. And it really works just as a system to make things a lot faster, eco-friendly, and they're even washable. So they're really meant to be used hundreds of times. So what that allowed us to do is get rid of all our plastic bags, all our reusable bags, and just have one set that folds up in a really lightweight 2-pound carrier case. And that's all you take to the grocery store. And you can reuse and reuse, and they each detach. You can use them separately as individual bags, or you can use them as a system. So we came out with that product just about a year ago, and we launched it. And we ended up selling out in about 2 weeks. We got picked up by a website called bestproducts.com. And they featured the Lotus Trolley Bags and the video, and immediately we had thousands of orders within a matter of days, and we ended up selling out, which was a great surprise and a great problem to have. But at that time, we really knew we had something on our hands.
Farzan, let's stop here first. And where's your website so people can go to it real quick and see
yeah,
what
they
it
can
looks
go
like?
see the concept right now. Exactly, that's the best way to see the video. But if they go to lotustrolley.bag.com, that's LOTUSTROLLEYBAG.com, they can see the whole video and exactly how it works.
Well, I got one thanks to you, and I was absolutely floored by it. That's why you're on this program. But let's go back up. Again, Farzan, first and foremost, give your website again, and I don't just
Sure, it's lotustrolley.bag.com.
Okay.
Yep, and then they go right on the website. We got a video and all the pictures and kind of how it works and the different functionality and features and so on.
Well, Farzan, where are you? What nationality are you?
So I'm Persian, and my wife's American, and we got married a couple of years ago, and this is kind of a invention we both came up with together, really trying to solve a problem we personally had, and I know so many people have that same problem of clutter, and in California where we're from, people have gotten used to taking their own bags, but what happens a lot is people forget their bags, and then they end up getting more bags, and they have to pay for them here, and then that ends up cluttering their house even more. But with this system, it really is a system, because once you use it one time, it's really hard to go back to anything else, and we tend to remember our bags now rather than forgetting them, and because it's so compact and really folds up in a nice carrying case, it's really easy to store in your car. It's really easy to put away. And again, you can use them individually. We take it to the beach all the time, the cooler bag especially. But they're really strong, sturdy, meant to hold over 50 pounds. And we really wanted to produce something that would last and not add to the waste. So quality was a really big factor.
Okay, let's stop and let's talk about this process. That you came up with this idea. A lot of people come up with ideas, but then they don't go forward. And,
that's right.
It's nice that you did it with your wife. So you came up to you had to find a solution. How did you work out the solution?
So the solution, really, we started studying the market and really trying to see how this problem can be solved. We went to the supermarkets, we talked to managers, we studied different types of bags, we used it ourselves, and we were trying to solve several things at one time, and that became a little bit harder. We're not just trying to make a reusable bag, we're trying to make something that makes things faster, easier, and more eco-friendly. So we started prototyping, and once we had some concepts, we literally got on Alibaba and tried to find bag manufacturers, and found several that started to make prototypes for us. And we went through multiple prototypes, and once we nailed down exactly what we wanted and the different features that we liked, we basically went ahead with it. We got all our plans and started to go with a test order, and we were initially going to go with 1,000 units, which we thought was a good starting point. But after visiting the manufacturer and putting in all the time and effort to refine all the details, we decided to kind of jump in both feet, and our starting order was 5,000 units, so 5,000 sets of 4 bags. So it was a pretty large order.
It is. Now stop. How much do you retail your product at?
So we retail our product for the four bags, the 4-bag set. It retails for $34.95, and you get all 4 bags. And yeah, they come in as a set.
Yes. Okay. But that means you had to have where did you come up with the money to fund the initial 5,000 order?
That's it, yeah. So that was pretty much all our savings. We decided to invest in this project. We really saw that this was a need that many people had, and we kind of just jumped both feet in and decided to give it our all. So it was a little bit of a, nerve-wracking move, but we were confident in the product and we were confident in the need and thought, at least we can make our money back, worst case scenario. But we were pleasantly surprised with the response of our first order and quickly went back to order more with the sales we had.
These are manufactured in China?
In China and Vietnam. So, yeah, I actually ended up going down there and visiting the manufacturers and really looking at the quality assurance, and that was important for us. So I've made several trips down there to really vet the
Vietnam or China? Vietnam or China?
Both. Both,
okay.
Actually. Yeah. So it's been interesting kind of analyzing the different factories in different countries and the processes. But both those countries do provide, there's factories that do provide quality products that are very professional. So it's just finding the right partners.
Okay, Farzan, before we go further, did you quit your full-time job, or are you still working your job?
I did. I ended up quitting my full-time job, and my wife is a teacher also, and she ended up quitting her job, and she does a little teaching, private teaching on the side, but we've basically both jumped in and committed. I used to be in advertising, and I quit that just because there was just so much to do in a new company, and really this is what we're doing 12 hours a day every day. We're doing Lotus Trolley Bags.
Well, I noticed you also did your own mass mailing. That's how you got to me. Who does the marketing for you?
Really, it's myself and my wife. So it's myself, and we're just really trying to do as much as we can ourselves. And at some point, we hope to grow the team and get it out there in larger numbers. But we're just doing the best we can as a small little family company.
Well, let's go talk about you. You got onto a website, Best Products or something?
That's right, yeah. So social media obviously has been huge, and it seems like it's such a huge part of marketing, but we have a relatively kind of attractive video that shows the concept, and that's how people really understand the product. So the video got picked up by a couple of websites and posted onto their Facebook feed. And from there, people ended up seeing the concept and how the bag spread out on the top of the shopping cart. And they reached out to us and, wanted to get our permission to post our Lotus Trolley Bag video. And we said, sure. And quickly, in a matter of several hours, we had hundreds, if not thousands, of comments and likes. And you could really see people understanding the frustration everybody has. So it kind of took off from there. So we got really lucky with that first post. And then what happens with a lot of these bigger Facebook feeds, once they post something, other Facebook feeds pick that up and then they share it. So it kind of catches on fire from there, which we were really lucky to experience.
Well, how did you decide on the design? Did the two of you work it together? It's people that can't see this, unfortunately, but your product has a very interesting design. It has very interesting colors. Who did all of that?
Yeah, I have to credit the colors and the design to my wife for sure. We came up with the initial design and the concept first, and then we just kept adding features to that. We saw that the bags, that the concept of the opening up and spreading on the shopping cart really worked, and from there we added an insulated bag, and then from there we added egg and wine pockets, and then from there we added removable poles. So we've gone through about 3 different versions of the bag thus far since we launched, and our latest version has pockets on the outside and the inside, because we're also coming out with a new product called the Lotus Produce Bags, and those are for all your produce items and your fruits and vegetables. So instead of getting all those little small thin plastic bags, you also have a set of produce bags which you can reuse and wash and are really sturdy and nice and matching. But yeah.
But Farzan, you have to go to the checkout point. You have to take everything out of the bag at the checkout point. They have to be scanned, and then you have to put them back in.
So that's one way of people can do it. Yeah, that's a common question. So what we've designed, and I don't know if you noticed it, but it's got a little strap on the back handle when it rolls up. So what you do is you actually strap the entire set of bags, rolled up like a little yoga bag, right to the back handle of the shopping cart. So what that does is it allows you to just shop like normal. So you can put all your groceries in your cart like you do normally, and then once you get to the checkout counter and you unload your groceries onto the conveyor belt, then you take your bag from the back of the handle and you just spread it out right in the shopping cart in one easy motion. And now you have 4 bags that are upright that you can pack and sort and organize, and you just pack at one time. Now, a lot of people do that, but then there's also a lot of people that like to organize as they shop. So as they shop, they will put their items in the specific bag that they like, and when they get to the conveyor belt, they unload it in that order, so then they can load it, so the bag boy can load it back in that order. And an interesting thing that's happening in the market, a lot of the newer stores, including Kroger, are changing to a new concept called Scan Bag and Go.
Yes.
It's similar to the Amazon Go technology you've seen, where you literally just scan it as you're shopping and you put it in your bag and then you pretty much walk out. So the bags work perfectly for that concept, which is coming out, and we're going to see that coming out into hundreds of stores this year and going forward. I think it's really going to replace how we currently do our shopping. But that technology really works great, and it's faster, easier, and just more efficient.
Well, now, what's your capacity? Can you go into, say, a Kroger's and be on the shelf with Kroger's?
So yeah, we got some. We were able to luckily get in front of the buyers at several of the chains. We're in California, so we've gotten into Ralph's, which is owned by Kroger. We've gotten into Vons, which is owned by Albertsons. We're also at multiple other locations, including Natural Grocers in Colorado and Best Markets in New York. So yeah, we're a small team, and quickly we're trying to get in front of the right buyers, and we're talking to several retailers, and we've gotten fantastic response because they really see that it does speed up the whole checkout process. That's what they like. And at the same time, it's an eco-friendly product that's providing options for the consumer. So it's really a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the consumer. It's a win for the stores. And we're just happy to get the concept out. So it's gone really well, and we hope to get it out nationally and also internationally. We're going to be launching in Australia soon, and that's been exciting. So we're going to be expanding over there also.
Well, so you're still sourcing from Vietnam and China, am I right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
well,
we go ahead.
No, you first.
No, I was going to say we really did a lot of studying the market to try to see where a product like this that's very labor intensive can be sourced from, both in Mexico and the U.S. We really studied, but I think China and Vietnam really are able to produce items in large quantities, especially when it's so labor intensive. But the quality has come out really great, and we're very happy with it.
But how many units do you think you'll sell this year?
We're hoping to sell upwards of 30,000 units, 30 to 50,000 units this year. We expect. That's set. So just the average family. Studies have shown that the average family uses up to 1,500 plastic bags a year.
Yes.
So, one of these bags can help eliminate, a mind-boggling number of plastic bags that every family is just wasting. So we're really excited about that ask more than anything. We hope to, reduce millions of plastic bags this year and really grow this. But we're hoping to do about 30,000 sets this year. And also expanding into Australia and Mexico is going to add to those numbers. So we're excited.
Well, here in New Jersey, it was defeated this year, but it should pass next year. They want to impose a 5-cent a bag tax on plastic bags here in New Jersey. So I assume
that's right.
Every time a state does that, your marketplace expands.
It certainly does, yes, and it's been a trend internationally and nationally. We've had over 4 people from 14 different countries reach out to us looking to expand the product line in their countries because so many countries are just putting in these plastic bag regulations, which frankly are really necessary with the amount of waste we have. It's mind-boggling once you start looking at the numbers and the amount of trash in our oceans, and specifically plastic. So, anything we can do to help reduce that and get attention to that, I think, is really valuable and necessary.
Do you have a patent on your bag?
We do. We filed 8 different patents, both in U.S., Canada, Mexico, Australia, and Europe. So, yes, we filed multiple patents on the Lotus Trolley Bags. It's been an exciting process to kind of learn about that whole side of the business and the patents and trademarks and so on. But yeah, we're expanding. We're excited to expand the Lotus Trolley Bag concept internationally.
But what's to prevent the manufacturer in China from just selling that to someone in China?
It's a good question. At the end of the day, patents are a hard thing to protect, even when you have them. But with us, we feel that we're providing a quality product, and quality is really important to us. So yes, there are bags that could be made cheaper and possibly, a similar concept or ripping off this concept. But at the end of the day, I think it's about execution. And, any business owner can tell you execution is really vital and key. And we just want to get out there as quick as possible and provide a quality product to a customer that will enjoy it and talk about it to their friends and family. And really, we haven't had to do any advertising thus far. All the advertising has been through word of mouth from our customer base who have really loved the product. And some of the reviews are really amazing to see. They write, full 2-paragraph reviews. They're just bags at the end of the day, but people really seem to resonate with them and the solution that it provides.
Your website,
it's really cool to see.
Your website for our audience?
Yeah, it's lotustrolley-bag.com. So people can go there and see the video and the concept, and they can purchase right from the site also. So just lotustrolley-bag.com.
It's a really fascinating product. I was amazed by it when I got it.
Thank you.
And I can't tell you how much. It's just a clever approach. But
it's a simple concept.
Well, the simple concepts often sweep the world. Who would have thought of Scotch tape?
That's right.
Or whiteout. But
there you go.
Farzan, do you have any follow-on products? Are you thinking about?
Yeah. So we actually have another version of the Lotus Trolley Bag we're about to launch right now. It is the Lotus Trolley Bag Club Cart version. So that's a version made specifically for the club carts like Costco and Sam's Club, and some of the bigger carts like Aldi's. So that set is perfect for the club carts and really solves that problem. So for all the listeners that are frustrated with all the big boxes that they get at Costco and having to, put these massive boxes in your recycling bin and do something with them after you get home. This really solves that problem. This version has 3 much larger bags that have wide openings to fit all the Costco type items. It also has an insulated cooler bag, so it works the same way. And again, the poles can be removed also, so you can throw them in the wash or reuse them for different purposes if you want to take them to the beach or wherever. And then we have our Lotus produce bags, as I mentioned, which are a set of 9 produce bags that you can use for all your fruits, vegetables, and those can be washed and reused also. So the whole set is going to be available on our website. We're actually launching a Kickstarter campaign in about 2 weeks to launch those 2 new items, the club cart and the produce bags. So we're excited about that. So you can find us on Kickstarter also and save quite a bit on the early bird special to grab the club carts. But for the regular version, you can go on our website, lotustrolley-bag.com, and grab those there.
Farzan, in a minute or 2 we have left, what are the 2 things you learned that you'd pass on to other small business owners?
I would say anything's really possible. You just got to jump in and really do it. I think studying too much without execution can really cause you to stall. So I think just jumping in and learning about whatever market you're in and talking to people is really key. But in terms of manufacturing, I think try Alibaba. It's really powerful. You can basically find people that can make anything on there. So yeah, I would say just jump in both feet and give it a try.
We have been listening to Farzan Dehmoubed. A link to his website will be on recalculating.biz tonight, where you can hear this and every other past and future Recalculating program. Farzan, you are absolutely fantastic guest, and thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, no, I appreciate you and your product.
Thank you. Enjoy. I hope you have a great time shopping, and hope it makes things easier for you.
Dan, before we go any further, I want our audience to know about your new runaway hit book on Alzheimer's disease and how it affects teenagers. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, Don, thank you. The book is called Why Can't Grammy Remember Me? It's a book written primarily for children ages 9 to 12, but really needs to be read by the entire family. And what I try to do is I try to take the subject matter of dementia and the challenges to a different level in the form of a mystery story with my 2 little detectives, 2 little girls, Hudson and Charlotte. It really creates a breakthrough opportunity for small children and parents and families to begin to understand the problem with dementia. See, Don, the real challenge is that the children are the forgotten people. Mom and Dad spend so much time working to try and take care of Mom and Dad, they don't take the time to explain to the children what's going on in Grandma or Grandpa's brain. So you can buy it at Amazon.com, or you can order it through your local bookstore, or any online bookstore besides Amazon has it available. Why Can't Grammy Remember Me? Illustrations are spectacular. A story by Dan Perkins.
Your runaway bestseller, new book.
Why Can't Grammy Remember Me by Dan Perkins. Dan Perkins here from Recalculating.biz with your small business tip of the day. Have you ever worked really hard to land an order only to find out that you lost it? There are times where we really want an order from a prospective client, and then you find out after all your hard work, the order went to a competitor. We learn wisdom from our failures much more than from our successes. It still hurts to lose the order, but losing an order teaches us a great deal about what kind of business person we really are. So here's your Recalculating.biz small business tip of the day. When you find out that you lost the order, don't send an email. Send a letter to the head of the business unit that placed the order. Tell that person that you are disappointed that you didn't get the order, but that you'll work even harder to get the next one. Ask him to tell you what you can do so the next time the order's in play, you can win it. This has been Dan Perkins with your Recalculating.biz Small Business Tip of the Day.
Thank you for joining us on Recalculating. We hope the information you received on today's episode was helpful to you in starting and growing your business. Please go to our website, recalculating.biz, to contact us, to listen to past shows, and see special offers. Until next time, remember, if you grow, we grow. Join us next week for more helpful ideas to make your business a great success. Recalculating, a program designed to help you be successful.